Hey everyone and welcome back to Hypertora. I've got my Tokyo Treat box here for May. It finally arrived. It's about a week late from when it normally arrives for me. Probably no fault of Tokyo Treat, most likely Japan Post, because I think a number of people are missing their boxes, so the most likely problem for that would probably have been Japan Post before it actually got into international post. But I've got it now. It feels reasonably heavy. I've got an idea of a few of the items in here because they've teased it on social media. And obviously this is our second box with this new kind of shape and design. But let's open it up and see what's inside. So it looks pretty funky there already. We've got our little booklet as usual. It's spring fever, so all the flavours and stuff in this month's box are meant to match up with spring. And I always use our booklet as usual just so I can remember what's inside each category, as well as actually tell what each item is, because I can't read Japanese, which is a major downfall when you've got loads of Japanese candy, because it's all none of it's rarely in English. But let's start off with the top item in here, because that looks pretty funky from what I can see already. So these look a little bit like pasta things, but in a bag of crisps. So Baby Star, Panmen, olive and salt flavour. So it's a noodle snack. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever had anything quite like this, where noodles are kind of a snacky crisp based thing. So that's something new. And the olive and salt makes me think of a kind of Italian flavouring. That's a bit different. We have some Pocky. It's white. I'm not entirely sure whether that means it's maybe milk flavoured or... yeah, so Pocky mild milk coca. This is from the regular box. The kind of noodle-based snack there is from the small box. So depending on which box size you get different items in them. Now this looks really cool. These remind me, and they look very much like melon bread, but they say mini. But you can also get white chocolate bread that's like this. Now they're probably going to be sort of harder snacks, but it's yeah, melon pan mini cookies. That's why they're hard. So they're basically cookie versions of melon bread. That's really cool. I love melon bread. It's one of my favourite kind of snacks. In Japan, bread is a lot of bread is made into kind of sweets. Rather than here, you get rolls and stuff, and you put things inside it. In the UK, in Japan, it's very much a treat. They put like red bean paste and flavouring and sugar on their rolls. So that's quite a nice item to get. I'm absolutely looking forward to that. And the next, this looks a little bit like cereal. I think it might be actually, because it's got some little O's here. So Doraemon chocolate snack. So it's just this light corn snack, said to be enjoyable at room temperature, chilled or even frozen. Oh, that's new. So you can freeze these by the look. So to me, this looks very much like some of the packaging you get in the UK for cereal boxes, which is something different. Now, our other item, this is the Dagashi bag, which is part of the small box. This is the new thing that they started adding last month. Now, I kind of was a bit mixed about this last month. It's really nice and it's extra items, but as I said last month, they've added these extra items, but they've taken away other items from the small box to make up the price of these. So while there's more items, they may have taken away 2 items and added 5. I think the 5 items here are roughly the same value as the couple of items they've taken away. So I think the value of the box hasn't changed that much. But nonetheless, it's really nice to have some different things in here. So we got some chi beans, little snacks. That would be really interesting because they look like they're green. Then we got these little corn puff things. I tend to get these increasingly in the boxes now. They're very popular in claw machines that people win stuff from. In fact, I think my very first one of these I got when I went to Japan in 2015. Someone gave me one. They had a massive bag of them. They'd been at an arcade and won loads. So that's really cool. We got some 7 sticks. These are really nice, interesting. These are like wafers with chocolate in the middle. I think we've had something similar to this in the boxes before, because it's not the kind of thing when I was in Japan, but I used to go and seek out. What have we got here? Some crackers. It's got some carrot on there, so I think it's some sort of carrot and tomato-y flavoured little cracker snacks. And then our final item in the Dagashi bag is a lollipop candy. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not used to seeing lollipops in massive bags like this, but it feels a little bit different on the insides. So looking from that, it might be on a spring. That's really interesting. I'll have to open that one up in a little bit of time. We have our DIY candy, which looks pretty cool. I think you can make stuff. You need water, and it's going to be powder as usual. Does it say anything about this? So it's a DIY gummy candy. So this is going to make some gummies, which gummies are my favourite. So I absolutely love DIYs that actually make gummies. Increasingly I get a lot of DIY candies that make a kind of foamy substance. So it's a real treat to get the gummy based stuff. And that, you need the premium box if you're going to get that item. These look like some more gummies here in sort of lemon, orange, and maybe strawberry flavouring. That's pretty funky. So I got a new box yesterday called Doki Doki Boxy, and it had something very similar to this in it. It looks like there's a sugar powder sachet in here, which I open up, I pour it in and shake it about. So I did one of these yesterday, but a different kind of one of these. So that's really fun, and I really enjoyed the other packet. I've eaten it already. This is a nice addition. Following on, I absolutely love when there's loads of gummies in these boxes. So this is a premium item. We've got some kiwi-based gummies. So I've never had kiwi-based gummies, so I'm really looking forward to this. They feel really soft, so they're going to be some really the kind of nice chewy gummies that don't make your jaw ache when you have to sit there and eat loads of them. And then we've got taiyaki. This gives me memories. It's a traditional snack in Japan. It's basically a kind of wafer with filling. This one would be chocolate mousse. Now I had these fresh when I was in Japan last year, because even if you look back through some of my Japan vlogs, you may find these in one of the festival days. Essentially, when there's festivals on, they make these fresh. They have like waffle iron basings with a fish shape in them, and they make them with custard or chocolate or whatever you want inside red bean paste. So that's a really nice addition, and it's a very traditional snack. One that you see quite often on some anime shows as well. I know anime shows like To Love Ru show a lot of these taiyaki snacks. We've got a nice little, I don't know what this is from, but we got a nice little keychain slash phone strap here. Calimero mobile phone strap. So this is a premium item. So if you want things like this, you have to get the premium box. So that's a really funky addition. And then we got some. I think the final items we're coming up to in a minute will be the things that they've teased online. Now this looks like a jam or jelly. It's quite hard. I can't tell what it is. It looks like maybe red bean paste. This. So yeah, it's a different packaging from what's in the booklet here. So it says Waraku no Sato Yokan. It's a thick jelly snack made of red bean paste, sugar, and agar. So I guess right with the red bean paste and jelly. So that's interesting. I've never had a kind of red bean paste in a jelly before. Red bean paste can be a bit of an acquired taste. It's a bit like red beans or kidney beans if you've had them before. So that's going to be a new experience for me. Now we got some KitKats, because they've been teasing some KitKats to come into the box this month. So here we've got a butter cookie, which is pretty funky. This is part of the small box, so if anyone who gets a Tokyo treat will get one of these. So there's different ways you can eat them. You can eat them just plain, like they are here, but you can actually stick them in a kind of toaster oven. Don't stick them in an actual toaster that you flick down for bread. What you want is a small oven that toasts things, or a grill. You can heat these up and melt them slightly, and they're meant to change flavour, so you sort of get a kind of golden crisp on the top. You can probably get the same effect maybe if you have one of those little torches for cooking that people use to sort of lightly caramelize things. And then we've got another set of KitKats here. This is some really nice posh covering, sort of packaging here, shiny. Looks like there's almonds and cranberry from the things in the box. It says winter edition, everyday luxury. So dried cranberries and almonds on top. So I will open this because that looks really interesting. I've had lots of different flavoured KitKats before. I've even got a KitKat video back on the channel somewhere. But I've never had anything where, by the looks of these photos, where there's fruit and stuff mixed into the top of it. It's always been a kind of flavouring edition. So that would be really nice to open. And then our final item in this box is our nectar drink, which they teased on Facebook. I've had nectar before in Japan, but this is rather interesting because I think this is nectar with sakura, which is cherry blossom. And I've never had nectar mixed with cherry blossom. And nectar itself is an amazing drink. It's very refreshing. It's a bit like a juice. When you first see it, it's something just really nice to drink, when maybe a fizzy drink would make you not feel as refreshed sometimes. But that's everything in this box. I am going to try a few things. I'm going to open up the DIY candy. I'm liking the box. I tried the Doki Doki Boxy yesterday, which is another Japanese candy box, which I'm thinking of possibly picking up, but I definitely won't get rid of Tokyo Treat anytime soon. While the Doki Doki box is a similar price and it was bigger, it had a lot more items in it. It was a lot more savoury snacks, whereas I like Tokyo Treat because it tends to have a lot more. While it has savoury snacks, it tends to balance it a bit more with the chocolate and the gummies and the sweets, and includes a drink which Doki Doki box doesn't have. So that's really cool. That's why I love Tokyo Treat. But I'm going to start off with the nectar drink because this is one of my, I think I'm going to enjoy one of the most, or the thing I'm going to enjoy the most in here. I can smell the blossom and the kind of cherry hint on it. It has a kind of almost tea-like flavour to it. Accompanied by the blossom. That's different. It wasn't like I'd expected it. It almost makes the nectar taste, the peach and the nectar almost taste a bit tea-like almost, but not quite tea. It just gives it kind of richness, which I wasn't expecting. So that's really nice. I do want to open up and see what this KitKat is like. Now, I think I've had something similar to these KitKats before. If you want to see other KitKats, you can go to my KitKat video. If you look back through my videos on my channel. But, these are individually packaged. That's amazing. So, they're not breakable KitKats. They're all individually packaged little bars. And one says white and one says, I think the other one would presumably be the normal chocolate. I'm going to go for the white chocolate on this. That's really nice because that makes this really bite-sized. And if you want to give some of these out to people, you're not giving them an entire mini bar. You can see there's nuts and cranberry mixed in the top, which is something new. I've never seen that in a KitKat before. So this really is a luxury new item, I think. So you can definitely taste the white chocolate in that, mixing with the nuts. Maybe it's my taste buds, I don't taste the cranberry as much. Although it is in there, you can get the texture from the cranberry. It's not as much as if it was just a cranberry flavouring. The nuts maybe overpower it slightly. But it's a really nice KitKat, actually, so I recommend that. Just don't eat that if you're allergic to nuts. Which is a bit of a shame sometimes with these boxes. If you are allergic to things, you have to be very careful because they don't have different options to take certain allergies out of your box. You'll get the same box as everyone else because they've not got the manpower and the ability to actually sit there and remove items or check all the ingredients on every single box. So you either have to be very cautious and check that yourself if you're getting one of these boxes and you've got allergies. Now, There's several items I want to try in this box. So I will do the DIY next, because I know a reasonable few of you are normally interested in the DIY. Very interesting. So we've got the instructions on the back of the DIY, but the nice thing about Tokyo Treat, which Doki Boxy haven't caught on to yet, is putting instructions for your DIY candy on the booklet. So we got a nice step-by-step guide on how to make the DIY candy. So we've got 4 sachets. They're normally color-coded, which makes it nice and easy to understand. Sometimes they're color-coded and they have numbers on as well, because it's not uncommon for them to put different flavor, like have a base and a thing that you mix it with to make the item, and then having different flavorings on top of that. So it looks like the brown packet is our kind of base as such, which needs to be mixed in the largest mold. So what does it say? So pour the content of the brown bag in the largest mold and smooth out the powder before slowly pouring water over it using the measuring spoon. Be careful not to pour too much water onto the tray. So we got a kind of, this is a very unusual spoon for water. Normally we have a little corner piece. So I'm going to pour this powder into the thing here. That is quite a lot of powder. And next we want some water to pour in. Now, I'm going to double check this as well. Now this is our stirrer, so this is our measuring spoon. And very carefully pour that in. Now, yeah, it's the thing with the gummies, don't take too much water, obviously. I think there needs to be more water than that, just because of how difficult that is mixing. That's a little bit better. There's powder going everywhere making this. It doesn't say how many spoons to use. It just says to smooth out the powder. So maybe I wasn't meant to mix that. That might have been something that was meant to be poured over without stirring, I think. So that's my mistake, I think. So I'm trying to smooth that back down into a gummy, but I don't think that's going to look quite like the photo that's on this guide. And then there's different, so I think these are all the same, but they're different flavorings. And I'm supposed to pour these into the different molds. So the instructions here tell me which mold each thing goes into. It might be what I've done is poured too much of the powder in, but it actually makes several of these by the looks, because I think that's a lot of powder to fit in those small molds. These aren't too easy to open. Actually, there is a tear on it. I am getting at this kind of powder everywhere. It's covering me in sugary paste. Which is taking a bit more of that, so maybe there's just going to be some left over, which would be nice to make some little other gummies later on. And the final one is this one. So I think if you're doing this, I think you just need to sort of smooth out the powder into the trays. Don't do what I did, which was pour a bit of water in and then trying to smooth it out afterwards. I think you'll get a gloopy mess like I made there. So I think the whole idea of this is that you just pour a bit of water. It reminds me now of when I made a different kind of gummy. You have to be very careful, but you just pour water around the mold and let it soak in, but don't mix. Once you put the water in, don't mix it. And you want to be careful not to pour too much in. Just want to smooth some of that water across. So that's our gummy. I think I kind of mucked up the mold on the right hand one there slightly. So I ruined that. So don't do what I did originally, which was pour in and mix that. I think just level it out, put the powder in, and then pour water very carefully over it until you've sort of put enough there. Supposedly you meant to leave that for about 5 minutes, just for it to solidify. And you can sort of, in that time, clear up all the powdery mess that you've made. I'm going to leave that to the side for a second. I'm going to try some of these other things while that's setting slightly. So I want to actually give these melon pans a go while that DIY is setting. And definitely smells a bit like melon bread. Obviously they're cookie based, so they're going to be a lot harder. But they look like little mini melon pans. You can tell from the crisscross pattern. And they normally have a slightly greenish hue to them with some sugar on top. Now, they tasted more buttery to me than melony, which is perhaps the cookie recipe. I think if I was after something melon, I'd go straight for the actual melon bread rather than the cookie version. I didn't really get too much of a hint of melon from that, which is a bit of a shame. But let's go back to the gummy here. Now, it looks like from the plate you can pull this gummy out and then put these different parts on top of it to make a face, which hopefully you guys can see in the photo there. I'm not going to do that because I think I've absolutely ruined this, whatever it was meant to be. So I'm just going to give this a taste test. And nonetheless, it tastes absolutely amazing. I love the gummies, and that tastes really, really nice. It's just a shame I didn't mix it up properly on the first one. But otherwise, if you get one of these, you think you've got, I think today's the last day you can order this, or maybe tomorrow. So if you want to get this and you see this video, you have to be very quick because you can still order this box because it's not quite May yet. You can order it up until the end of April. But yeah, I'm pretty much happy with most of this. Now, I've had these things before. I think we've had similar stuff to this in some Tokyo Treats. This is pretty much the same as this. They're just different shapes. So they're really nice items. I'm actually loving this box. The Nectar and the DIY are really nice this month. And then I'm actually quite keen for these kiwi gummies because they're quite new and something different. These were a little bit disappointing from what I hoped they'd be. And I'm really intrigued about this as well because it almost to me seems a bit like cereal, so I'm almost tempted to put that with milk, which could be an interesting combination. But yeah, that's it for this box. That's all the stuff I'm going to try. I will show you I'm not going to eat it, but I'll show you the lollipop because it was intriguing. It is on a spring, which is really interesting. I don't know how, I think the idea is you put that on your finger and you can use it as a lolly. So that's a new concept I've not seen before in a lollipop. But that's all I'm going to try on camera today. Thanks for watching. Please do comment down below and let me know what your favourite item from this box was. Definitely the Nectar for me, with the KitKats and the gummies, especially the gummy DIY. I love the DIYs, especially when they're gummy based. Please do hit the like button down in the bottom corner over there. Don't forget to check out one of my other Japanese box unboxings, which I did yesterday, the Doki Doki box. So if you go onto my channel page, you'll find that there. You can see some other Japanese snacks and candy. And there's even a discount code there to the end of July if you do want to try out the Doki Doki Boxy. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Please do hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys next time.